Welcome to Spotlight on Laurel, her history and her people, brought to you in part by the Video Guy and the Sentinel-Echo in cooperation with FM98.5 WJTE, the Light of London. Of course, the Spotlight series, a series that we're doing to promote Laurel County and also its rich history and to preserve it for future generations. This week's episode should be a dandy, as I have the distinct pleasure of speaking with the legendary coach, Roscoe Denny.
Thank you, Kip. It's a pleasure to be here alongside you.
Coach, you don't mind me calling you legendary because you've earned that. You
Thank
kind
you.
of embrace that, I think.
I appreciate that. I just think you got to prove yourself every year, though.
Well, you do, but you're known far and wide as like a round ball guru. Okay, you really are. Is there anything you don't know about the game of basketball?
Yes, and I'm still trying to learn.
Still learning.
The last 2 years, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I've been doing a lot of studying.
Is that right?
Yes, I have. And going and visiting some coaches again because actually that matchup defense, I studied it for about 47 years. But there's a couple out there that are different. So I didn't want there to be anyone out there different that I didn't know about. I'm studying
so
again.
Still to this day, things like that cause you to lose a little bit of sleep. You need to know.
Right.
You don't know enough. You need to know a little more.
The game still intrigues me.
And the game still evolves, doesn't it?
Yes.
The game evolves, which we'll talk about that some as we go. But I like to begin, Coach, by finding out where you're from, your roots, your family, what caught your particular interest in the game of basketball, and were you involved in other sports as well, and what came first, your chosen career path, teaching or coaching, which came first? But start with your family first.
It started with my roots. Well, actually, my grandmother was a Hurley, and they lived on the Laurel County side of Wildcat Mountain.
Okay.
So sometimes I claim Laurel County.
Yeah.
But then they moved over to the Rockcastle County side.
Okay.
My mother and father both were from Rockcastle County, but I actually have some relatives here in Laurel.
Well, Laurel County claims you now.
I claim Laurel County as my home. Yes, I do, and I appreciate the people.
Yeah.
Because when I came out of Cardinal Hill that time, and I don't talk about this much, but I had all my sisters there, and I said, look, I'm going back to Laurel. They go, we know. Because they had met all of you all, and they knew what I'd always told them about the people of Laurel County, how great y'all were, how friendly you were, how Christian oriented, and how nice y'all had been to me. So, I do not plan on making any more moves.
How old are you, Coach? If you don't mind?
I'm 67.
Okay, and you have how many are you the only boy now?
Yes.
Okay.
I had 7 sisters,
Wow.
and I'm sad to say that I hate to even tell you this, but I lost one of my younger sisters in May.
Okay.
May the 16th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the first one? Then you still got 6 living sisters?
Yeah, I have 6 living sisters.
And they take good care of you.
Yeah, they do.
They try to tell you what to do all the time.
That's why I always get along.
You're only boy.
I tell them here, the ladies teachers here at school, the reason I get along with them, I get practice on the weekend.
You learned the hard way.
I learned the hard way.
You sure did. So now, I know you're just passionate, and that's not nearly enough strong a phrase to say how you are about basketball. But you and I have talked football before too, and we've talked baseball.
Yes, we have.
So were you involved in other sports though as well, or just?
No, just basketball. I did play baseball in high school, and I coached it in college at one time.
Okay.
I was an assistant.
Okay.
And I was an assistant in high school for about 5 years. And I love all the sports, really.
Right.
But when I was fourth grader, my fourth grade PE teacher, he actually was from Jackson County.
Yeah.
Wendell Tillery. And if you can become friends with a teacher as a fourth grader, then I did that. And he was a basketball guru, and so he knew I wanted to go into coaching and teaching, so I was the PE assistant.
Okay.
And he would let me do some leadership things within the class. So that's when it all
In fourth grade?
Yes, in fourth grade.
And so you went right on up. That's what you wanted to do, and you came right on up, but was teaching a means to coach?
Teaching was a means to coach, yes.
I can understand that because I think I've got one of those at my
Yes,
house.
you do. You're going to have a good one too.
But yeah, so teaching was your career path, but the coaching thing was your passion.
Yes, sir.
So you're still very connected and closely associated with Eastern Kentucky University.
Yes, I am.
So elaborate a little bit about that.
Well, I've been at the school a long time, as many people have, but I try to stay more in a leadership role. It gives me, a sense of pride, and I give out the scholarships for Eastern Kentucky University each spring. I give them to South Laurel students, and I give them to North Laurel students. Okay. They're awarded by the university, but I'm their representative.
Right.
And I've told them, I said, hey, we got other people from Eastern down here, but they like me giving them out because I take a lot of pride in it.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure these other teachers would too, and if there's any money left over, I try to push for the Laurel County kids on both sides of the county.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely involved in that, and for years I was very active in alumni association, and still am.
Right.
But a lot of people are. I don't do.
Oh yeah, I understand
things that other people don't do.
Well, we interviewed one as this part of the series. We interviewed Ernest Matt.
Matt
early on.
That is Mr. Eastern Kentucky University.
Yes.
If I need something, I go to him.
Okay. Well, so do I.
There's no one like him in that school and Laurel County kids.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. So now your first coaching job. Let's work our way up to the present, and we might pause to elaborate from time to time along the way. But let's start with your first coaching job. I guess out of college, maybe.
I was still in college.
Okay, still
the
in
way
college.
I count it, the way the state people count my years, I was a senior at EKU.
Okay.
And the year before, I did a lot of refereeing of the area, Madison County grade school games, 7th and 8th grade. I was making some money to get through.
Right.
Wasn't that much, but it helped.
And this was what year would this have been?
That would have been 71, 72.
Okay.
But then in 72, 73, Mr. Shirley Kearns, who was the head coach at Richmond Model, he said, hey, I don't have anybody coach my 7th and 8th grade. You want to do it? I said, oh yeah. So I coached 7th and 8th grade at Richmond Model.
Which is kind of a unique animal.
Yes,
Richmond Model is.
It is.
There's not a lot of schools like it.
No.
A lot of folks don't understand exactly
and the professors'
what it
kids
is.
and this and that, and
It's a mixed bag of,
Yes, it is.
It's a nice school.
And we're going up there this year, and I'm real happy about it.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah.
But Mr. Kearns was a great person and a great coach. It gave me an opportunity. I told someone the other day, before I started changing all these ideas, back then I just knew the basics. I said, you know what? I was a better coach. You don't try to do too many things.
Sometimes you can have too much in your
I
head.
agree. But those boys,
I can relate to that. And even my passion is music, and I know what you mean. You start to feel yourself
too
full
much.
Of it, and then you want to pull back a little bit and just zero in on your true love. Which,
well, as you well know, Kip, basketball is very simple. It's a simple game.
Well, see, I don't know
Us
that.
coaches, we try to complicate it.
It's five. Yeah, it's.
Here's the way I look at it.
Defense,
The most complex game is football. There's more to it.
Absolutely, yeah.
The game that's got the most strategy in it is baseball.
It is. I agree with that.
And the game that's the most simple is basketball.
Well, they all three though are not only physical games.
Yeah, they're mind games.
They're mental games.
They
as
certainly
well.
are.
They're mental games. So you're at Richmond Model. You're still a senior at Eastern. You're at Richmond Model, and let's move on up now. Just kind of take us through a tour of Denny's coaching. Yeah.
Well, I went to Carroll County for 3 years as an assistant, and then after.
You ever coach girls?
At summer camps I have.
Okay.
And I've coached girls many times in track and golf and things like that.
Right.
And they're a delight to coach.
Right.
Tell them to do something, they're going to do it.
Right.
But anyway.
So Carroll County.
From there, I did always kind of have my own college coaching, and an opportunity presented itself at Franklin College in Franklin, Indiana, and I took it.
Okay.
Of course, I took a well of a pay cut, but I'd only been teaching 3 years. And I went up there for 2 years, and I found that The college kid, they're adults. I was 26, they were 21. I had one boy on the team was 27, I was 20. He's older than me and been in the war. My love is high school. The high school kids need more those kids are set.
Yeah.
They're well reared. They got their goals set. They got their attitude set. You don't do as much molding. And I was into molding. So I came to high school and stayed, except for 2 years I went up to Transylvania to help Coach Lane.
Let me pause there for just an example and a comparison maybe, and you can agree or disagree with this, but you're coaching kids your age now, okay, at that time.
Yes.
Okay. I've often thought about when Patino left Kentucky and went to the Celtics, no one obviously Kentucky fans blame him for coaching, but no one could blame him or reasonably for leaving for the kind of money that he left for.
Yes, sir.
We but I think he got up there and where he was used to molding and shaping in whatever fashion he did, young men who were going to become pro, when he was on the floor doing the same thing with guys who were making as much or more money than he was.
That was tough.
That I think with his style, I think that's one of the ways that he found out that college is for me.
He was a college coach.
And so
yes, sir.
With Denny, you're a high school.
I'm a high school coach. And from there, I went to Pulaski County for, I don't know, about off and on 13 years. Of course, in '86, we were lucky enough to win the state title. However, in '81, '82, and '83, Laurel County Senior beat us out of the region finals.
Yeah.
I have all respect in the world for Laurel County.
Yes. So, I remember the '86 team, though. You called it lucky. How much does luck play into that?
You got to have some bounces of the ball. We won the state tournament that year by 10 points total, 4 games, and that's still the lowest margin ever.
Mm-hmm. I remember that team very well.
Yeah, you do have to have some bounce of the ball.
What about Reggie?
There's no one like him. He was just
Reggie's
a
nice guy.
Great personality, great player.
Let me tell you something that a lot of folks don't know. I sang at his wedding. I don't know where he's at now.
Yeah, he was married at Ted's.
Yes,
right.
Because of where it was at the time. We sang Righteous Brothers, Unchained Melody. I'm sure.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm sure Reggie didn't pick that out, but it was a thrill for me. And one of the things, and this interview is about you, but I totally off track here, but I would like to mention, of course, Rex and Kenny were there as groomsmen at his wedding. Rex Chapman, Kenny Walker, and of course I was kicking around. Those guys were all cutting up with each other and stuff, and those guys are much taller than me. But I wanted my picture took with Reggie and Katie and Rex, and so they within the context of everything happening, they granted my wish and posed for a picture with me, and the photographer lost that roll of film.
Oh no!
Yeah, so I have no proof of that. But that's funny. That's one of those funny things. But Reggie was he's a really nice guy, but a very special ball player. You were fortunate to coach him.
Yes, I was, and I learned this from Dave Fraley. Reginald was so good. Dave always said, "Don't tell Herschel how to run the football." So any great player that I've had since then, I don't tell them too much. If they can play, you don't mess with them too much.
Right.
But then after that, I kind of wanted to get back into head coaching, and I went to Danville, and I was still had that urge, and I still had those drives. I still had those goals because I wanted to take my own team to the state tournament. And again, I was fortunate enough to win the 12th region title in 1990 at Danville, and we went to the state tournament. And I stayed there a few years after that, and then I went to Breathitt. And again, I had some tremendous players. And in '96, we went back to the Sweet 16 as a head coach. So that made me 2 trips as a head coach, and I'm not boasting. I'm just saying I'm proud of that. It's something you always you strive
Absolutely.
for. I set goals every year. I think you need to. I reset mine every year. And then after that, Coach Wright, he was a great friend of mine, still is, and he was at a Laurel County senior, the last year of Laurel County senior, and they went to state. And he wanted me to come as assistant, and I did. And it was a great experience, especially the winning.
Oh, yeah.
And we were fortunate enough to not only...
Well, when you came, it was around the time that he was really figuring out how to get a good group of guys to win big games.
Big games. And I came in '99.
Zeroing in on that.
And I've been here ever since. I was there 12 years. And we had great players. And we were fortunate enough to win 6 regions, and obviously we were lucky enough to win the 2005 state tournament.
Yes.
And with a powerful team.
Yeah.
And Coach Davis had a team over there a couple years ago that was very comparable to us. Mm-hmm. And they just couldn't get a break against Dawson.
Yeah, they did. That was a dandy team.
And then I'd always promised Coach Sizemore, he said, will you go with me when I become a head coach? And I told him I would, but the first year he went to Garrett, and I wasn't ready to leave Laurel County.
Right.
And I'm not. Mm-hmm. I have no intention of it.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I'm not coaching.
And you coached Coach Sizemore.
Yes, and I coach Sizemore.
Yeah.
We're very close friends. Yeah. However, we have kind of a difference because he's the head coach, I'm the assistant. I show him all the due respect that he deserves.
Absolutely.
Which is a lot. And we had a group of men that first year that they just willed their way to the...
Your first year was 2011-12.
Yeah. They willed their way to the 13th.
I was part of that ride. Well,
you
my
certainly
household was part of that ride.
And that was very special for our school here. This is a great school, great people. Seems like, like I said, I'm kind of country. So I love it here.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this makes me my 47th. I'm proud of that. It's hard to coach that long. But
not many folks do.
I've been fortunate on the longevity. And like I said, I'm still interested in it. I still love being around the young kids. And I love the games. And I love the challenge of, winning the tournament's not all there is to it, but it sure is a lot of fun trying.
That's right, yeah. Well, so I know now, you talk about the young people, but I know when you were at South Laurel, it was the little dribblers. Now at North Laurel, it's shooting stars.
Yes.
Where you teach fundamentals at a very young age.
Yes.
And that's important.
That's important.
And you headed that up. Was that your brainchild, your vision for that?
Yeah, it was, and I'm proud of that. And
you should be.
Coach Wright, he kind of asked me, he said, do you want to do that? And I said, sure, you need to. And we had a lot of kids there early at South, 48 or 50. And back then you could go to the UK men's game and to the UT Lady Vols. And we went twice to the UK men and performed at halftime, and once to the Lady Vols, because I always had girls in it.
Uh-huh.
That program is strictly fundamentals, and a lot of the parents, out of all due respect, they wanted me to let them play games, but I will never give in. I said, this program is for teaching.
Yeah.
If you want to let them play Optimus or Upward or those are great programs.
I think that's an excellent.
I'm keeping mine the way it is.
Yes.
And I told Coach Sizemore, we just had a few out there last year, and he said, listen, if you don't want to do it, I said, no, I'm doing it, because my philosophy is this. Once you start something, you don't let it fall. No. Because it's part of this school. It's part of his program.
And it's going to ebb and flow.
Yeah. And
there will be years where your numbers are down.
Yeah, and I got 8 or 9 2-year-olds out there. I even dropped down to the 2. But see, I like those kids. And
wow, you love them, and they love you, but you're teaching them fundamentals.
Right.
Really, do you think they start to appreciate the game of basketball? It can sink in as early as 3 and 4 years old.
Yes, it can. And I looked out there one year, and South had 5 seniors on the floor, and every one of those boys had been in the little dribblers. They wanted 4 years, but then they wanted to stay the 5th year, so I let them. And I looked out there, and they were all 5.
Now that's something else. That's a testament.
And I like that program, and I want to keep it going.
It should
and there's a lot of other programs. You know, the AAU is big now, and that's great. Optimus has always done a fabulous job for us, and so is the HIS and the Upward. Those are great programs. They're Christian oriented.
Yes.
And I love that. So you know.
Well, so you're a guy that has beat a lot of folks at their game, and yet I've never heard one person say an ill word about you, Roscoe, honestly. Or send any negativity in your direction, and I think there's a lot to be gleaned from that. I really do.
Well, I try to start out with my thing is always be nice.
Well, you've helped steer many a young career path because let's face it, I mean, especially in basketball, and we talked about baseball and football briefly earlier. You got 5 men on the floor on basketball. Right. You got, your football team, you got a football team of special teams and offense and defense, and you got a lot more kids that you can use if they're skilled enough.
This is true.
In baseball there are more kids that you can put out there in skilled positions, but my point is, the road generally ends for these guys on senior night in basketball.
Yes.
I mean, it generally does. But you've helped many of these guys not only find their way basketball-wise, but in life. Well,
we have a lot of kids. They're the community leaders now, some of the community leaders.
Yes.
And that's what makes you feel so good about it.
Yes, absolutely.
And they're going to be teachers like your son. They're coaches like your son. I look out there and I go, man, I have your mom in school or your dad in school.
But you've had an influence. Do you know? I mean, you just know or have this feeling when a team, for example, South Laurel 05 or North Laurel's Peyton Broughton, do you have this gut feeling that there's something special?
Yes, I do. You usually
Reggie, for
example.
example.
I think the media people, the fans people, when it's a special group,
right?
And we've had a lot of special groups here at North Laurel. We really have.
Yeah. Well, what wins out though? What's more important in a player, heart and determination, or skill and talent? That's a much debated. John Calipari's been asked that. I mean, what Roscoe Denny's philosophy on what's more important?
Well, it's a fine line, but you can't help but lean toward those heart and determination.
Yeah.
Of course, you got to have the skill to win it, but a lot of times, the heart and determination can win it for you.
Yeah, if there's enough of it.
The 2012 team, heart and soul, won it. They won it. Not us coaches. Those boys willed themselves to the top.
That's what I was getting at.
They willed themselves to the top.
And they had skill and talent.
Yes.
But was it enough to get as far as they did?
No.
That's debatable.
And all respect to those kids, it was an improbable championships. And improbable championships is what makes it all fun. Worth the challenge.
UK 1998.
Exactly. And 98.
96, anything less would have been disappointment.
Would have been disappointment. 98 was different.
It was different, and that same goes for 2012 North Laurel. So now you're mainly here's this. I don't think we're going to get controversial here, but hear me out. You're mainly a 12th region guy, or you have been, down through the years.
Right.
You're still involved with the 12th Region Hall of Fame.
Yes, sir, I am.
And which is one of those things like, well, someone has to do it.
And we still put Laurel County people in it.
Yeah,
I made that clear when I left the region.
Well, it's admirable of you to keep it going. But when Laurel County, and then of course North and South, were in the 12th region, now when compared to mountain basketball or the 13th region in particular, the 12th had a reputation of being, for lack of a better term, softer.
Okay.
I mean, is there anything to that?
No discredit, and I know you won't.
No, I'm talking about, that was a real thing.
That's right.
Whether it was true or not, I'm not a basketball person. I'm a fan. I don't know the game. But and you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Is there anything to that?
Yes, there is. Listen.
So I mean, I've observed some differences through the years as a fan of the state tournament, but is there truly a different brand of basketball from region to region?
Yeah, especially in West Kentucky.
I mean, as a fan, like I said, I've observed.
But there's still.
So let's get back to the to the 12th, 13th.
I'll just tell you, it's a lot harder to win the 13th region. Trust me.
Why is that?
The competitiveness of the southeastern Kentucky and the eastern Kentucky teams.
You think it's geographic?
Yes, it's
mountain ball. The further east you go, the kids have less extracurricular things to do.
Thank you.
They focus. Okay,
that's it.
So there are things that play into that.
There's things that play into it. You're right. It's so much harder to win that 13th. It's just harder.
Mm-hmm.
Now the 12th, they have the north end.
And let's
of the,
not discredit the 12th
right.
region.
Well,
And
no, I
you're
love the
not-
12th. Won a lot of games there. Titles.
Yeah.
And I love the 12th region,
Yeah.
but you know, it's harder to win the 13th.
And I think a lot of people would agree with
And
you on
probably
that.
coaches over there would say the same thing.
Yeah.
Now, some of the schools at the 12th region, at the north end of the region, are getting more competitive in basketball. But there was a time when there wasn't.
Right.
But I just know
Well,
how.
take state tournament. You can, if anybody tries to discredit what we're talking about, take your state tournament wins and losses down through the years.
Yeah.
12th is an early out, and sometimes 13. A lot of times 13th is too. You know.
Well, and remember, the Laurels, we were in that 12th. And it was tough to win in because you had to go through Laurel County,
That's true.
north and south.
That's true.
And,
of course, you had some strong teams in Pulaski
Yes.
too. And then when they split, that's
We had some strong
and not
teams.
just them Wayne County.
Right.
You know, Woods. I mean, 12th region. You got to give them credit.
You
but
do.
but the 13th region just it seems like it's harder nosed.
It's hard. It's more hard nosed, and like I'm saying, at Pulaski, 81, 82, 83, Laurel County beat us out of the tournament, final game. In 84, we switched it. We beat
Right.
Eddie McKinney, my buddy,
Yeah.
and Dean Gray
Yeah.
at Wayne County.
Yeah.
So we finally got the monkey off our back. But buddy, when you're playing Laurel County, I always told my teams, not only are you when you played in Laurel
Basketball
County,
county.
you're also playing their fans, because I'm gonna tell you, especially when they first started, they say what they want to. It was one for all and all for one. If Laurel County played at your gym, it was packed
Absolutely.
with Laurel County
Lot of
with Laurel
pride.
County fans.
I wish football fans in Laurel County would be that way, and you know, that ebbs and flows. But I wish
Yeah.
they were as passionate about football
Yeah.
as it. But anyway, that's
This is a
that's
basketball
side note.
county,
That's a side
area.
note. You know, I've observed that and tried to get them more pumped up as PA announcer. But now let's talk about some of the coaches and the players you've had the privilege of coaching for or against. Anyone or anything stand out in particular? And we've talked about some of them.
Well, you know, I learned a lot from a lot of great coaches. Dave Fraley, Ralph Roberts, who coached at Cumberland in the 13th, and Coach Tim Stevens at McCurry when he led the state in scoring and they went to state. There's so many great coaches out there, and there's so many great young coaches out here today too. And the game has changed a lot, and
Yes.
the younger coaches have adjusted to it. The 3-point line, and you know, I was
You've
watching
seen
the
that.
Eastern
It
game
was
the other
a
night,
lot.
and I go, man, I don't think I can handle that shot clock. Because,
Yeah.
you know, we weren't hitting the basket, and if you're not hitting, that don't mean you had to shoot it.
Right.
But
Any rules you'd like to see changed as far as the Kentucky High School Athletic Association?
well, they've changed so many of them through the years. You know, I always liked the jump ball when I had a good tall team, but you know, that don't always happen.
Right.
But when I first started, they had the jump ball.
Right.
There was no 3-point line, although I'd say that my teams, you know, back in the day when you shot a good outside shot, it was probably, even in our smaller schools here in the county when we had local high schools there, they were probably threes.
Little Jerv says the long two is the worst shot in basketball.
He's probably right. It's hard to make.
So most folks don't know, sir, that you are also a recording artist.
Well,
And Little
yeah,
Jerv said
something like
you better
that.
ask him about that.
I
man.
got his tape, and yeah, they talked me into doing that. When, of course, you know, when you're dealing with teenagers, you know,
Oh, you got to get on their level.
you got to get on their level.
Yes.
And
Oh,
I
they
do
love it.
think that I have learned that.
Yes.
I learned that from Dave Fraley and a football coach named Mike Holcomb at Breathitt County,
Yeah.
and also Dudley Hilton.
Yes.
Those three, they can relate to teenagers better, and I learned it from them. And that's how
You picked that up.
Yeah, I picked that up.
So now you also have your own website that folks can go to for fundamentals. Of
Yes, they
basketball.
can. Lately, it hadn't been coming up. You know, after a while, I think they quit because it's a free one. But I was showing a young lady, Emily Sizemore, the other day on there about it, and we couldn't get to it. And finally, we got to it. But it's
I'm gonna try to look that up and share it. I'll share it on my Facebook.
share it on there,
Yeah.
and see, because if you
I know you
can't
don't do
get to
Facebook.
it that way, you can go to Coach Roscoe Denny, Google, and scroll it down to where Ethan Everso put that fake Twitter on me. several years ago.
Okay.
You can go in that way.
I need to research that.
And I told Ethan, I said, Ethan, please don't do that. I said, because you're saying nice things about me. I said, but these parents don't know. You know, when you talk about the boys, you got to talk about all of them. It's only fair, you know. I said, they'll think I'm just singling. I said, don't do that. So I told him the other day, I said, hey, won't you put something on Twitter about me?
Yeah.
There's nobody like him. He had heart and soul.
Yeah.
Heart and soul with that group.
Yeah.
And he was one of them.
He really was, yeah. Yeah, he and my son.
But I think everybody's going to be pleasantly surprised and pleased, and I think the fans have really enjoyed our teams the last few years.
Oh, absolutely.
24, 24, and 29.
Looking forward to a really good year again here.
These kids do have the winning attitude now.
Yes.
And the way to get...
You got a shepherd coming in.
Yes, and he's a very good player.
I've seen him play.
I mean... you know, he's got the bloodlines.
He has a nice bloodline on both
He got on both
and
sides.
I question sometimes how much DNA and the gene pool plays into things, because I've seen it. You know, I've seen kids excel far past anything that you can pinpoint. Yeah,
that's right.
But with him now, it's undeniable.
Yeah.
With him now, it's undeniable. But I'm starting, and you mentioned this year coming up, but I'm starting my 10th and final season as the.
Are you ready?
As the
you've always been great and put a lot of jazz in it, and it's helped. It does help the team. I want you to know that.
I enjoy it. You know, I just wrapped up the football, and I'm going to do basketball. I told Durham one more year. And I'm still counting on you to get me that state tournament.
Okay. I'll work on that. One of them's so shy that he might not do it. So
those guys are legendary. Yeah,
they're legendary.
Yeah, those two guys. We've been listening to them for years. Coach, as I knew it would be, it's really been a pleasure today.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you, whether we're doing something that's going to be on there or not.
You and I always find conversation.
We find conversation, and. I'm a people guy.
And I'd like to say this from a personal standpoint too, because I don't get personal with these interviews, but here I think it's necessary. Thank you for being a good influence on my own son.
Yes, sir. I think a world of him.
Thank you, sir.
And always thank you so much.
And my daughter too, but of course he played for you, so I appreciate
your family.
Yeah. You're a friend of our
family.
I
think over. I got a class up there on Thursday night, and I said, well, that's where she's staying.
Yeah, she's over there. Yeah, she doesn't come home as much as he did, which surprises me.
Right.
You know, so. But that's good. She's learning to do things on her own. Right. She does.
Well, I'm proud of those freshmen. They need to get involved.
And that's what she's done.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of her. I miss her, but I'm proud of her. And that's one of the reasons why after 10 years I'm kind of going to give some of this up. If she's home, I don't want to be tied up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We might come to the game, but I want that to be an option, not a.
Right.
Not
well, we're going to try to give you a great season.